Hey, what's up, everyone? I am Chris Aurelius with the EDM Nightlife Show. I'm here at Underworld for their Konkrete Jungle Saturday night, and I have the absolute pleasure to have an interview with an old school producer, DJ from the drum and bass and jungle scene. I'm talking about Dara. Hey. How are you doing tonight?
Nice to be here. Nice to be here. It's a nice little intro you gave me there. I like that. You could do that a little more.
Thank you. How tall are you, man? I feel like I was tall.
I'm a big boy. I'm like 6'4".
I'm 6'1", and I'm looking at you, and I'm like, oh, man, I wish I had your height.
There you go.
I hope you have some leg room tomorrow on the plane. I know you have to leave early, right?
Yeah, 6:40 a.m. Got to be back in New York.
Oh, man, too bad. Are you going to go out anywhere else after your set tonight?
No, I'll be going to my bed. I'll get a couple hours sleep, and then I'm off to the airport.
We'll see you next time. We'll take you out. Have a good time. I've been a fan of yours for a very long time, listening to your drum and bass, and I was never able to see you play, so tonight is an absolute treat for me. What got you into that genre of electronic music?
Wow, well, I'm so ancient that when I started DJing, there was no such thing as drum and bass. So, I started in like 1989, 1990. I had a friend who lived in London. I was in Dublin at the time. I had a friend who lived in London he sent me tapes from pirate radio over there, and I heard this music. I'd been into kind of industrial and noisy, weird music for a while. But when I heard this music with all these beats and these weird noises, and I was like, oh my God, this is the music for me. So around, 91, they started adding break beats to it. Everything was just all kind of mixed up. It hadn't split into the separate genres at that point. Gradually the break beats got faster and faster, and I found that was what I was more attracted to, and that, developed into jungle in late 93, early 94, and that's just the path that I've followed since.
What'd you have to do to buy some equipment? How did you start out? Did you buy some turntables, or did you go straight to, what did you get started with?
Well, I got started with I had those like an all-in-one cassette and turntable and radio. I had two of them joined together with cables, and I would wind up the record with my finger and stuff to keep them in time, and it was ghetto style. But then I borrowed I got my mom to buy me turntables. I paid her back $10 a week for about 2 years for these turntables. So I always find it funny when people say I can't afford equipment. It's yes, you can. If you really want it, you can afford it. But that's how I started. I was just really, when I started DJing, I had no idea that you could actually make a living out of it, or that it was a career. There was no such thing as really career DJs in those days. It was just I was really excited about this music, and I wanted other people to hear the music I was excited about. So no one was more surprised than me that when I started to make a living from it. So I'm always grateful for that, and always thankful. It was never a career move to become a DJ.
Well, that's good. And I think you were in a prime spot as well to, learn about the electronic music. Were there certain, bands or artists that you looked up to, when you were starting to collaborate and make your own sound?
Well, certainly, from a DJing perspective, some of the people that I really looked up to was DJ Hype was some of the first tapes that I ever got from London from 1989. He was playing on the radio. He was playing house and scratching over it and all that. And what I really liked about him, and what I think I've kind of carried through my own sort of DJ style, is the variety that he would play. I get really bored if I play the same style for too long. I think that's one of the things that really attracts me to drum and bass, is there's so much variety within the genre. So I like to try and mix it up, because it's if you play a whole lot of bangers one after another, they're not really bangers anymore, because they don't have the same impact. But if you play a banger next to something that's not quite as heavy, that's kind of a different style, then it makes each track stand out. And that's always what I try and do, and what I've always tried to do with my DJing. As far as collaborations go, I worked with A-Sides several years ago, and that was really fun. I've known him for a long time. He's a good friend of mine. I've always really liked his production as well. So, he's been making records since 1991. A lot of people don't really know how many records he's actually made, but he's done probably over 300 records. So I'm going to work with him again in the next couple of months. Hopefully I'm going to take a trip down to Miami and work with him. But I worked with my partner, The Shooter, in New York with Breakbeat Science. We had the label together, so we did a lot. We worked really well together. He did a lot of the sort of engineering, the mix down stuff on my earlier tunes. I would write the tunes, and then we would mix them down together, because he had a really good ear for that. But I'm working with Silent Killer and Breaker at the moment. I'm doing a couple of tunes with them, so I'm really getting back into the studio thing again. The problem is everything's gone digital now, and I still have all my old analog equipment in storage, a big huge desk. And
well, that's what I was just about to say. Is that now you're traveling nowadays? You're not really carrying a lot of records anymore. Is it just some CDs you're bringing out? You can travel a lot lighter now with technology. What do you like to use in the DJ booth nowadays?
Well, I pretty much just play CDs now. I did bring some vinyl vinyl tonight, some old school vinyl. The problem with, it would be nice to, if vinyl, you could do vinyl always, but technology's not going to go backwards. And I know people say, oh, vinyl sales are back, but it's like, they're not really. It's like vinyl is never going to be the standard anymore. But and also so much stuff doesn't come out on vinyl anymore, so you have to have some digital aspect to your setup. I haven't gotten into the Serato or anything. That whole looking at waveforms and all, it's just too. I need to be a little more sort of engrossed
into it. You're a proper DJ. I left my book report at home, so I know about the whole Serato thing. I'll do my book report tomorrow. I want to use what's in the DJ booth. You know the ins and outs of that. You're heading back to New York tomorrow. What do you have coming up in the near future?
I'm doing a little tour this summer with AK 1200. We're doing a few dates together. So that's fun because we're good friends, and we're doing a couple of Planet of the Drum shows later in the summer, but we're just doing a couple of shows, just the two of us together. We just did Dallas on Thursday night, and we have Philadelphia, North Carolina. We've got a few things coming up over the summer, so it's always fun to play with somebody else, particularly a friend, somebody that you've known for a long time, and I think our styles kind of complement each other. So
definitely. And you just said some big name parties like Planet of the Drums. I mean, I remember that since I was early teens. Now let's say Planet of the Drums. You think that let's say AK 1200. Are you ready to take over these main clubs out here in Las Vegas on the Strip? Let's say put you in Marquee or the new Hakkasan in one of their 5 levels. Do you think drum and bass is part of their 5 levels now?
I don't know if we're quite bro-tastic enough to take over those clubs. I don't know, with drum and bass, see, the thing is with me, it's like, I'm not really interested in taking over these clubs if I would have to tailor what I do to do that. You know what I mean? It's like, I've no problem with stuff getting popular as long as it doesn't have to be changed to get popular, you know what I mean? I think drum and bass, even though certain sounds in there are sort of have a more mainstream appeal, but in general it's just too weird. It's just too fucking alien for most people.
Do you think that if you ever go into one of these big clubs and you would just let's say look at the DJ booth, do you ever think to yourself, you know what, I can get in there right now and just tear it up and show them a good show and they would not know? Do you think that way sometimes?
Well, I don't know. It's like sometimes it's like it depends on what they're expecting. Drum and bass can be pretty off-putting for people if they don't know it and they've never heard it before. What the fuck is this? Believe me, I've cleared many a floor in my time. You really need a drum and bass crowd to listen to drum and bass.
Indeed. Oh, that's so cool to hear. I look forward to seeing what you have coming up in the future. Where can we look out for you? Give us some of your links or websites.
Well, I have a Facebook page, which I'm in this fucking quandary on Facebook. There's a Wikipedia Facebook page that was auto-generated that I have no control over, and that has 8,000 likes on it. My official page only has 2,500 likes, and I can't get the people from the other page
to go to the other page.
To go to my page.
Yeah, I'm getting into the whole social networking thing myself as I have to, and I hear what you're saying, either or, but you know what? Just check out Dara, Dara. You will hear some really cool stuff. Safe travels going back to New York tomorrow, and please come back to Las Vegas. I think this town needs more drum and bass, especially in some of the big clubs as well.
Absolutely. If they'll have me, I'll be there.
Yeah, I'm Chris Aurelius with the EDM Nightlife show here at Underworld for their Saturday night Konkrete Jungle, talking to Dara. Keep it locked.
Yeah.
Damn right.